much, Professor Usha, for inviting us to be part of this session. Very kind of you. And thank you for, as Hema was just saying, a very well written introduction of us. We need not have said so much, but very kind of you. Thank you. And all other distinguished members of this association, Dr. Sridhar, Dr. Lata, and so many others. It's a pleasure for us to be here and discuss with all of you. We'll get to the subject of the day that's been given to us. The topic given to us today is Vyasa of Veda. We normally hear the phrase Veda Vyasa. But what is this Vyasa of Veda? It's something different. We look at that over the next half an hour, 40 minutes, the time allocated to us for this. First of all, in Bharat Gyan, over the last 25 years, we have been fortunate to have been able to date different great personalities of Bharat. So here we have, in our efforts in Bharat Gyan, been able to come up with a timeline for the civilization. It's a very ancient civilization. Some of this on historical Krishna and historical Rama, Kali Yuga, the Mahabharata, main events, Buddha, Adi Shankara, all this we have been to what is normally called as prehistory, because from the European perspective, they give history as starting from Alexander's visit to India and everything before that as prehistoric. That's a term they have used over the last century and a half or 2 centuries. Whereas we in Bharat have been able to give specific timelines for all of this. That's a commendable part. So what we have done is, while many people have tried both for giving dates for Krishna and for Rama, which we have done at least about 15, 20 years ago and brought out books, both historical Rama and historical Krishna. We also felt an important aspect that defines our civilization, that defines being a Sanskrit forum here, as to can we give a timeline, a date as to when our holy literature, the Veda, were last compiled. Please note here, we are talking not about writing of the Veda or about recording of the Veda. No, that is beyond the way we can comprehend or we can put it down in time in our present day calendrical systems. But what we can and what we have efforted here is try to give a timeline for the last compilation of the Veda. That's what we've done. And that is what we're looking at for the next half an hour, 40 minutes. So we will come up with a date, because it's a 12-year event of Srauta Satra, and we will date that here. We look at that for the next.
So that's why we call it as Vyasa of Veda. No doubt, Veda Vyasa is the person, Sri Krishna Dvaipayana, who compiled it for the most recent compilation. But it was a Vyasa work, so we call it as Vyasa of Veda to keep the interest alive. And so let's look at the aspects of this Vyasa of Veda. What happened? Why did it happen? Where did it happen? So the moment you say something is historic, what makes anything historic? So if it is historic, you should be able to attribute it to some historic people. One. You should be able to say, when did that person live on this earth to be able to do it? Where would this person have done this? Can we identify that place? And of course, if you're lucky enough and you're able to find a reason and a story behind why they did it, nothing like it. And beautifully, for the Vyasa act of compilation of the Veda, the Vyasa of the Veda, we can find all this information. It won't be available in one place. You have to gather it from many places, but when you put them together, you get all these aspects being answered. And that is what we will see now.
So the questions come up where and when. Obviously, on the banks of the Saraswati Nadi, Rishis galore, with the Rishis whom we look at with much reverence, they all came together to compose various texts. They compose different texts, including the Veda, Purana, Itihasa, Upanishad, and all that and more.
So if you see all of these literature, they glorify and mention the river Saraswati and the banks of the river Saraswati. But where is this river Saraswati today? Today, if you look at the map of India, Bharat, you don't find this river Saraswati. And you don't know when it flowed, if at all it flowed. So how do we find this and ratify that the geography that is mentioned in all these texts is actually a geography in the land of Bharatvarsha?
Sure. Unless we sort of ground them geographically, all these rishis, respectable rishis, you're going to keep them hanging. So you'll have to sort of bridge the gap and bring it down. That's what we'll also be doing the next few minutes. So, with Vidya, with to know, wit in English, wisdom, from which comes wisdom. So, the Veda, all have got very similar pronunciation and the Bija Akshara. Similarly, when you look at this, you have the Vyasa Pita for the compiler, compilation. You have that. And when did this, where did this, how did this happen?
So now here, let's look at something very interesting to do with this Vyasa Pita and Vyasa of Veda. And for this, you will have to relate to geometry, math actually. So when we say Vyasa of Veda and we look at it as a compilation act, what comes to our mind is something of putting together. So compilation means our mind immediately thinks, oh, gathering and putting everything together. But look at what geometry tells us. It uses the word Vyasa for diameter. And it says that it cuts. It splits the circle into halves. So the word Vyasa is actually giving you a connotation of cutting, splitting, splicing, not putting together. So how do you bring these two to some kind of convergence, these two thoughts of splitting but putting together? And there, this Vyasapita actually, why do you call this Vyasapita also? It is because when you have those sheaves, those individual split pieces, you put them together on this. So Vyasa means you cut, you splice, you pick up. You cut one book, pick up few pages from here, cut another book, pick up a few pages from here, and then put them together. Then compile them together. So the act of compilation means you first take out from something else and then put them together. So that is the beauty of this word Vyasa. It gives us a picture of coming together, but also connotes an act of taking out. So which means that when you're doing a Vyasa of Veda, the Veda were there already. There were a lot of, Veda was available everywhere. That's why you say Anantavayi Veda. So it was there everywhere, and he took from that and compiled it into what we call the four Veda today. Now, why did he do this?
So we all know the story of Rishi Parasara and Satyavati is there in the Mahabharata. There's the origins of Mahabharata. So we have the animation there, and the reason why
he Krishna got the name Dvaipayana. So island born, he was born in an island.
So he was born there. Next time. So he was born on an island and he grew fast. It's also there. Next. This is a very old colonial era painting of the birthplace of Krishna Dvaipayana. We have there. I wanted to show that it's a very ancient painting, probably a couple of centuries old. And obviously, we know the story in Mahabharata. Satyavati later marries. And it is Rishi Parasara, the father, who takes son Krishna Dvaipana to this Yamuna Dvipa.
And to teach him the Veda. So he takes him and he starts teaching him Veda. And the purpose is he wants his son to help him in restoring all the four Veda to glory. If you read Rishi Parasara and the story of Rishi Parasara, you will find the importance he gives to the fourth, I don't want to say actually the fourth, but Atharva Veda, one of the Vedas which he tries to bring to glory again. But unfortunately, what happens is along the journey when Rishi Parasara and Veda Krishna Dvaipayana are going traveling, he gets attacked by the wolves and he is lost to all of us. And then Krishna Dvaipayana takes on the task. And the intention was to go to this location, which is called the Dharma Kshetre. It was not Kurukshetre then, it was still Dharma Kshetre. And this Dharma Kshetre had become desolate. And he chooses that place and to clean it up and because he now needs to get a lot of people, and he has identified this particular area where this task of compilation has to happen. But to do that, he needs a lot of help because it's infested with a lot of wild animals. And so then he goes, visits Hastinapura, meets his mother Satyavati. He cures the ailing Raja Shantanu and obtains their help. And he then performs the Vajpaya Yajna at Dharma Kshetre and starts off this Shrauta Satra.
So it's actually 16-day Vajpaya Yajna. He starts off there, where it was started off by Raja Shantanu and his mother Satyavati with his half-brother Bhishma sitting in the background there. So you see Bhishma is sitting there in the background. So by the time this is completed, so that's where the Shrauta Satra happens, a project to bring all the Veda of the land together. So after the Yajna was started, that's what's there. So over the next 12 years, it was Bhishma who actively helped in this mega event of compiling this knowledge of the civilization 5,100 years ago. So thus happened the Vyasa of Veda at Dharma Kshetra, which later on came to be called Kurukshetra, and the battle which ensued thereon from there. Now we'll see the where of it.
So how do you identify this Kurukshetra, Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra? So it is known that it is on the banks of the river Saraswati.
The erstwhile Saraswati Nadi, which had later dried up.
So this Saraswati river, was it really flowing? Is it a real river or is it just some imaginary river? And where was it really flowing? This needs to be now ascertained if it is to be a history and that can be fitted in a geography.
So, as we have in our Puranas, we have the Himalayas to the Mahasagar in the south, Himalayas in the north, to Arunachal in the east, to Afghanistan, Kandahar, that region in the west. So this is the Bharata Varsha, the land of Bharata Varsha that we have. So there have been many rishis, thousands and thousands and thousands of rishis who have been practicing dharma in this land, in this whole land of Bharata Varsha.
And they were all invited to come and converge at this Dharma Kshetra for the compilation act.
So that's why, so the Vyasa of Veda, they were all requested to come together. So that's why it gets the name Brahma Vrta too, because that's where the compilation happens. All over from different parts of Bharata Varsha and Bharata Khanda, they all come together there to do this exercise. And today, when we say Saraswati Nadi, for the commoner, it's limitedly understood as at the confluence of Ganga and Yamuna, the Gupta Nadi, Antarvahini at Triveni Sangam, Prayagraj. But what we're talking about here is the one that happened through Haryana, Rajasthan, and Gujarat.
And we will see in a few minutes, you will realize why it is called as a Gupta Nadi in this particular Sangam as well.
So now we have been able to, in literature, in hydrology, in geology and archaeology, been able to fix that the Saraswati Nadi flowed westwards in the path that we just mentioned and what is seen in the image here. So we have this, and this is there right from Mahabharata to the various Smritis. You have this Saraswati and Drishtadvati of the Kurukshetra. That's what we showed in the picture here.
So this Kurukshetra actually comes between these two rivers.
So we also have the war theatre, which mentions about 7 forests and 7 rivers which happen in this space. Those also mentioned, which are also we've been able to identify each one of them. And the reason of the Saraswati river going dry about 4,500 years back is a region of plate tectonics, earthquakes. When due to massive earthquakes, what happens is, next slide, Aravalli range, which is now in the Rajasthan belt, going all the way up to Delhi. This is one of the largest solid rocks of the world in the Luni-Sukri lineament. It goes on constantly poking the Shivalik range of the Himalayas. The third range is the Shivalik range in the Himalayas, and it's one of the oldest rock ranges in the world. Next.
So this plate is actually going under the Himalaya. If you really look at it, it's going under the Asian plate, and therefore this mountain is constantly prodding the Himalaya. And in one such, and therefore, which is why actually you keep seeing earthquakes happening very frequently between Tehran to Hanoi in Vietnam. In this entire belt, earthquakes keep happening
every year.
Now, one such earthquake close to more than 4,000 years ago, what happened is during that earthquake, the Yamuna used to flow in the Himalayas. It would flow like this, and westward it would go through Haryana, Rajasthan, and then drain into the Arabian Sea. Then what happened? And that was actually supplying water to the Saraswati river. Yamuna and the Tamasa were actually supplying water to Saraswati, and therefore Saraswati was a massive river that was flowing and draining into the Arabian Sea. Parallel here, there was the Sindhu. Yeah. That is why you have the Sindhu-Saraswati valley.
Civilization.
Sindhu-Saraswati civilization is Sindhu is here and Saraswati is here, and the valley in between is what is called this Indus Valley today.
We have made a film on this. We can watch it later, or Professor Usha can share it with all later. Because paucity of time today, that's a 7-8 film we have made, minute film we made already, not shared today. So in the Punta Doon Valley, there's something called Yamuna Tear, in which the Yamuna Nadi.
So there was a crack in the Himalaya
Shivalik
range through which Yamuna was flowing, and it started turning
eastward.
And flowed eastward instead. So the waters to Saraswati stopped. From the Yamuna, they stopped, and that is why, see here, you can see the tear.
This is a satellite map.
So originally it was going like this and coming here. Now its subterranean flows are there, but now it's turned like this and it's flowing down and then joining the Ganga. So this Yamuna now comes and joins the Ganga. So in a way, Yamuna is also bearing the waters which were originally part of Saraswati. So today when Yamuna is coming and joining the Ganga at Allahabad, in a way it is like at Prayagraj, it is like as though Saraswati is also there with Yamuna in a Gupt form. That's why you celebrate that Sangam so beautifully.
Now going back to the region of Haryana, thereon, if you look at it, the subsoil, if you look at the layers of the soil there, in the erstwhile bed of the now dry Saraswati Nadi, you will get different layers of soil. The topsoil, then the wind-blown soil, then there's lake sediments. There's water there, obviously, that's why you have lake sediments. Then you have Himalayan-derived riverine. How can you have Himalayan-derived riverine in a riverbed if it is not going to be that? So obviously, that's the how is the question there. So that clearly shows that. So it obviously shows that the waters were flowing there.
So from the Himalayas, the waters have been flowing in this region as well.
So it brings that to that. Next. This is one of the portions of the now dry riverbed of the formerly flowing Saraswati. It's in a village called Bor Saidan now. That is where Burishrava, one of the heroes of the Kurukshetra war, had his camp.
And this is just in the outskirts of present day Kurukshetra town. So if you go to Kurukshetra town, you can seek out this place, go and visit this. This is the riverbed.
One aspect of the riverbed. Next. So see, this is where the monsoon waters have collected in that riverbed. Next. Now when you dig down, see the top is there. So when you excavate down, you can get to there. So I happen to have the opportunity of going to the depth and look at the layers of the soil. Actually, Hema was taking the photo. That's why she's not in the photo. So we are there at the base. You can see that clearly. So that is how it is.
And in this path where you get this Himalayan riverine, you find that so many archaeological sites have been discovered.
2,000 such archaeological along these.
And they're all equidistant. So if there is a site here at the same distance on this, on the other side also you get showing that there must have been a river flowing in between.
So this very clearly places the point we started off with the first slide. These rishis are not to be hanging in air. They are from the same geographic area, the same time period. Why can't they be related and brought to belong to the same civilization? So we have geography, time period, literature, matching, and set all our rishis from our literature to the archaeological geographical sites because they're all Samakala, Sama geography, and that's what. So that's what
Samakala, because what do you find? You find the literature talking about the Saraswati River. Then you find Mahabharata again saying about Saraswati River, Kurukshetra. So Veda compilation, it says Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, and Brahmavarta. The same regions are found in Mahabharata also, and you're able to date Mahabharata. So when you say when, you find that you're able to date Mahabharata from that perspective, then you can go and date the Veda compilation.
Which very clearly says at the end of Dwapara Yuga for Kali Yuga, which is inherent in the text.
Now, when is Kali Yuga?
Using archaeoastronomy as a new tool over the last 20-30 years. It was a new tool 20-25 years ago. Now it's a tool that's been well recognized and well used by all. So what we're seeing is there was this Kali Yuga conjunction that happened along up to the Aries Mesha Nakshatram, the Ashwini star happened, right? Now the point is, I'm going to ask a very serious question here to all of you. Very serious question to all of you. People normally talk about, since this is a Sanskrit forum, I'm asking this question specifically to all of us here. When they say Kali Yuga, they limitedly think it as a time calculation that belongs to the Sanskrit language. Look at this. The earth is here and all the planets are aligned together to a particular star, Aries, Mesham, Ashwini Nakshatra, right? Now the point is, so is Kali Yuga only valid for Kurukshetra region, the time, or is it valid for when you are in Japan or China or Mexico or Africa? Is it valid there too? Yes, the time calculation of the Ipo, the Yuga, is valid in every part of the geography of this Bhuloka. Whether you're in the Arctic or whether you're in the Antarctic, the Kali Yuga event is an astronomical event common to the whole of Earth. That's the beauty. It's not language limited. It's not religion limited. It's not literature limited. It is for the whole geography. Now I'm going one more point. Is Kali Yuga limited only to Earth? Or even if you're in Mars or Jupiter, or if you're in Venus, do you have Kali Yuga there too? The same calculation holds good there too.
Because you're part of the same conjunction.
That's a point that we'll have to have a big take home for us.
When you say Kali Yuga, it is a time marker for the entire solar system.
That's the beauty of it. It's not religion related. It's not literature related alone. That's a great beauty point that we have here. Now, having said this, as astronomically, we know this happened, this event happened on 18 February morning, 02 hours 30 seconds, 30 minutes 20 seconds, so 3102 BC. That is why all our Panchanga uniformly have this, because it's a live event that happened in our Boloka. Post that, the Kurukshetra war happened, that in the intervening period, which happened on 22nd November 3067 BCE.
See, it is BCE, therefore you will find the years reducing.
So common era. It is not BC or AD. No, it is the common. CE is common era. BC is before common era, happens in the date.
And now we are in 2025 CE. So instead of AD, you say CE in history terminologies. And instead of BC, you say BCE, before common era.
Now, taking from this, if you look at, because Bhishma was there at the event of the Shrauta Satra, and we know what are the events in his life that he went through, the longest period that he was there in that. So we know we can able to date back from 3067 BCE.
If you start putting years to the event, so all this is there within the Mahabharata text itself. So if you start putting all the years for the various events mentioned there, from the Kurukshetra war, working backward, you can arrive at when this Shrauta Satra should have happened.
So it was a 12-year period of 3141 BCE to 3129 BCE. We are able to date it given this. And for this, if you look at the sky configurations of Bhishma Nirvana, you can look at very, very many options. But of all the options, the one option that stands out is 18 January 3066 BC, which you written in our book, Historical Krishna, in great detail. So that fixes it very well. It's like a funnel. So given this understanding, we are able to now say the Vyasa of Veda happened at Dharmakshetra, which later became Kurukshetra, the Shrauta Satra, in a period, a 12-year period of 3141 to 3129 BC, starting with the Vajpayee Yajna, where Bhishma was there.
Raja Shantanu initiated it. And it happened on the banks of the Saraswati River. And we are able to show where the Saraswati River flowed. And mind you, this is not the only compilation or the first compilation. This Vyasa is actually the 28th Vyasa. And our literature has names of all the previous Vyasa who have compiled the Veda for their period.
Starting from Swayambhu Manu, we have the names of the 28 Vyasas. And this...
And Parashara his father was the earlier Vyasa himself.
This is the 28th Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, also known as Krishna Dvaipayana, also known as Satyavati Sutta. So he is the compiler, the 28th compiler of the Veda. So that means we are not here trying to date the day the Veda were written, composed. No, that is, we're not trying to, we're only saying that last compiled is this. Last compiled is this date of 3141 to 3129 BCE is what we can clearly get. So obviously pre-Vyasa, the pre-Vyasa period, as she said at the beginning, Veda are endless. They have been edited, re-edited, made available to us many, many times in the millennia before that.
And from Parasara and Krishna Dvaipayana, these Veda Vyasas, you find them having been formally put down as Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. And of course, now there were so many then, there are so many shakas only now. So many have been lost in the passage of time. And you get clues to all this from within the Veda itself.
So, but what we have now, see, let us not cry over what we have lost. It's a passage of time. But what we have now is what we celebrate And all this, see, Kulapati Munshi's book, what he wrote for the Bhavans, it's a 8 volume. In this volume, substantial amount of information he is given from his perspective, probably 60, 70 years ago. So using that book, the book of Veda Vyasa, the master, we were able to collate a good bit of information and added it from our own Bharat Gyan resources. Collectively, we were able to bring it together to offer this today. So we have made banners also of this event where the Vyasa of Veda happened. The period again being the last compilation 3141 to 3129 BCE, headed by Rishi Krishna Dvayapana, whom we now reverentially refer to as Veda Vyasa. And the Shrauta Satra was a 12-year event where all these various great rishis came together with Raja Shantanu initiating the whole process as the Raja of the land, and then followed up by his illustrious son, whom we also reverentially call as Bhishma, the sibling of Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyasa. Because of which event, of that 12-year event, today we have the Veda.
Yeah. So all these are banners which are available. We'll show you where they are on our website. So you can also look at these banners, share them with your friends.
And use it for your needs as you need. So now going back to this, what we started. So see, we now know the Kurukshetra war date. We know Buddha's date. We know the Kali Yuga date. We know Krishna date. We know Rama date. We also have the Vyasa of Veda date.
Our timeline of Bharata civilization's history doesn't start with Alexander and is not misty, is not hazy before Alexander. We do, from our own traditional way of indicating the date, we do have very explicit information which can help us date all these illustrious people. There are, of course, many more which we have in our literature, and if we take the effort, but these are people who have been used by Westerners to benchmark Indian history. So, which is why we are highlighting these to you.
The benchmarking they had used was Alexander and Buddha. Of course, Buddha also they so grossly wrongly dated. But here we have been able to, in our efforts in Bharat Gyan, been able to give specific dates, each of this very important event in our Bharata timeline, and to say that ancient history is not a myth. It is no more mythology. It is all datable history. That's why itihasa. It thus happened. That is the beauty of it, which we can now proudly say our civilization knowledge, our civilization history has clear dates, timelines going back 5, 6, 7 millennia and more, which we can confidently and probably say for which we have done our work in Bharat Gyan, where, Hema will show next 1 or 2 minutes as to where it's available for you all to go and see, those who want to post the program and later too.
So our website is called bharatgyan.com. And if you go there, you will find here you have banners. You have banners here also. You can go here straight away. If you click on these, you will find the banners, various banners. You have the factoids. Yeah. So all about, in these series, you will find about Veda Vyasa also, especially connected with Vyasa Purnima or Guru Purnima. You will find they're all, the festivals are arranged in alphabetical order. And it's below here, but want to show you something more interesting as well. You go to our homepage, there you have films too.
All these, we have made them into films. We have made about 907 plus films as of today. We keep adding films on a daily basis. So all this content, what we showed you, is available to you here as films in our playlist. You can watch that. Then you can go to our books also, flip books, our main books, articles, all of them have it. So we urge you to visit our website at your convenience. Go to the flip books, main books and all that.
There is a book that you can read straight away here. It's on the website itself, which gives you the dates about these Kali Yuga. It's called Historicity of Krishna, Historical Krishna. And also date of Buddha, you'll find here.
Various aspects are there. So it's for all of us to use and share knowledge, as Professor Usha said at the beginning of this session. The idea is to share this knowledge with all our Bharata friends. I'd like to thank you all once again for giving us this opportunity to bring out this aspect we thought would be of relevance, of interest, all our friends here in this momentous celebration of Sanskrit Week. Thank you once again for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.